Hello and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Our stats on this show would suggest that the majority of our listeners are coming from the United States.
Yep.
Some in England as well.
Yeah.
And then very
And all parts of the world.
But they make up the largest chunks.
Yeah.
And they, at the moment, are in the middle of winter. And they're probably thinking, I'm so
Suckers.
jealous of this Australian summer.
Yeah.
But just to put your minds at ease,
Yeah.
there's no need to be jealous.
It's miserable.
It's raining right now.
Yeah, it's so rubbish.
Yeah.
It's funny, right? Because it's one of those things that, like, we talk about climate change a lot and stuff. And to me, this is the most impactful stuff that I feel.
It's
Where it's like, I'm so sure it never used to be like this.
It's-
just like cloudy, miserable weather, like all through our
Summer,
quote unquote summer.
It's so
Like,
funny that you mentioned that because I did over the Christmas break. I was talking to an uncle of mine, and he said something because it was raining on Christmas, by the way.
Yeah.
He had said something along the lines of, "Oh, God, and they still talk about this climate change, but it's not even it's not even hot."
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's
I think
I
that's
think
a
that is
problem.
I think that is
This
the
problem
climate
if it's
change.
meant to be
Yeah.
hot. Yeah, not that I know the ins and outs of it, but just from like a feel,
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel right, doesn't feel good. But anyway, I've decided to give up on the world and just let it end.
Yeah. If this podcast is out there, what do we think about the world? You just got to think about that.
Yeah, exactly. We're making it one step closer to doomsday, I think.
Well, look, we're certainly not helping.
Yeah. Like so many people aren't helping, are they?
No.
I was talking to somebody else the other day that was like talking about electric vehicle cars and being like, well, it's not just that, but it's like so much stuff. I was like, yeah, like that's the point. It's just it's everything.
Yeah.
And no single person on the planet wants to give up all the stuff,
Yeah.
all the luxuries that we have in life. So anyway, just let it happen.
If you had to buy proper clothes that don't have any like polyester or some kind of plastic in them, the price you'd pay for it, I wonder how quickly people would be like, "Well, it's not that bad, is it?" To have a
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. This first one is by Lord Answer Me Why. And it was in the subreddit.
I like how
Yeah.
you announced that like his name is Lord Answer Me Why, not his call to the Lord. Like, Lord, answer me why.
Yeah.
No, it is Lord, answer me why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I can't remember what subreddit this is in.
This is your laziest one yet.
Yeah. Anyway, it was something. It was titled, This Is Not Going to End Well. And it was the heading of a news article that said, Russia wants to build a safe space for conservative Americans to move to. The village would also be open to Canadian conservatives upset by the politics in their country. Now, I didn't do like extensive binging,
Yeah.
but I did some binging.
Yeah.
And this
you binged
isn't,
around.
This is, as far as I can tell, this isn't fake. This isn't an Onion story.
Yeah.
There were quite a lot of...
Maybe this was in the subreddit, not the Onion. Which,
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Because
But
I
if
thought
it's
about
not,
that. at the time.
post it there, Nelson.
Yeah. Oh my God, I could get so much karma. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, they really...
There is a certain breed of conservative anywhere that thinks that Putin's pretty cool.
Yeah. He does like taekwondo and stuff. That's pretty cool.
He's a tough man, yeah.
Yeah. I just can't, like, I would love the scenario where a bunch of conservative Americans are like, screw this, screw our country.
Yeah.
They bloody voted in Biden again. So now I'm going to move to Russia. And then just to see how miserable their
Yeah.
life would be there. And to be like, oh, actually.
Or like, even if they are living in the world they want to live with, they properly have just complete autonomy and they have to look after themselves 100%.
Yeah.
How quickly they'd be like, oh man,
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, exactly. I have to speak Russian. Oh. Yeah, I think this is, I'm kind of for it though as well. I feel like if we could, as a society, just sort of group everybody together
Yeah.
that holds the same values, that might cause more wars. Because you don't have like two voices inside of a country, one being like, hey, I don't think we should go to war.
Yeah.
You've just got the one that's like, hey, let's invade.
The problem lies not within necessarily grouping them all together. Let's say you start a nation.
Yeah.
Just for argument's sake, this is not based on anything, but we'll say Germany.
Okay.
And you put everyone in Germany that believes a certain way.
Yeah.
The problem is when they go, you seen Poland?
Yeah.
What if Poland
Pretty tasty.
was also us?
Yeah.
And then they start. That's the bit that starts to get concerning.
Yeah, that's...
If they were just to keep them to themselves.
yeah, that's true. We need to distract them with something, I think, like the rest of the world. Because that's a certain type of person. You put them all in, they're like, oh, yeah, they'll invade. They'll get in. I think that we should take the Watchmen approach and like just release into this new country, previously Germany, now Conservatoria.
Yeah. It's funny because Germany is actually not very conservative these days.
We
but we
should-
have
Why didn't we go with Russia? You changed it to
because
Germany.
I wanted to make the Poland analogy. I could have said Ukraine.
Russia is invading right now. It's fresh.
I'm sorry, Germany. I know you've changed.
Yeah. We like you now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. And then, yeah, I think that we release kind of propaganda that's like about aliens invading and just kind of like every now and again we drop little like little amoeba things from the sky onto their land. Just stuff that they're like, oh, it's happening. Because then they're too distracted from invading their neighbors.
You know what I think would be more effective, knowing the mind of, let's say, the modern conservative, which is you don't even need to go as big as an alien invasion. You just filter in little bits of propaganda that you know will keep them busy by saying things like, oh, we're thinking about making the train timetables more inclusive. And they'll go, what? You can't, what are you talking about? Train timetables, what do you mean? And then they'll scream about that for a bit.
Okay.
And then when they finally stomp their foot and they stop or whatever, because you're not going to do anything with the train timetables.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, but we're thinking about making TV channels gender neutral. Like, just like completely
just
nothing.
nonsense
things.
kind of things.
Yeah. But
that
they always
can-
need to have those keywords that we know are going to
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I reckon we round them all up.
Yep.
Start now. We'll have a dob-in service. You call a hotline, you dob in your conservative neighbor,
Yeah.
and we come and pick them up.
Yeah. Like if you say to someone, oh, you caught an Uber here, like how's the traffic? And they go, oh, yeah, it was right. And then they mention the race of their driver. You go, that wasn't necessary to the story.
Yes.
I might dub you in.
Unless it's important to the conversation.
Yep. Unless you say, you know what, you never see an Asian man driving an Uber. And they go, oh, actually, today I had an Asian gentleman driving my Uber. You go, that is relevant to the conversation we're having.
Conversation. Yes.
Yeah.
My Uber driver gave me a baguette today. Oh, that's weird. Don't worry, he was French.
Yeah.
You know? Context. It's important. I mean, that's weird regardless, right? Even if a French Uber driver, he's like, here, have a baguette. I'm like,
this
really?
is a bit on the nose.
I guess Some people give water. You do your thing. That's good. I wouldn't say no to a
More
baguette in my
interesting
Uber.
if he wasn't French. He'd be like, oh, he's reached out to French cuisine.
Yeah.
Branching out. That's quite good.
I would say, hey, that's racist. Keep it to the French Uber
yeah,
drivers
just
only.
for the French.
Yeah, they're allowed to. And frogs' legs. That's the two things they can do.
And smoke in the cab.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on, I guess. I don't know where that was going.
You don't know where it came from, and you don't know where it was going.
The subtitle of this podcast. Let's get into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit was by RockSaving67. How will you react if Donald Trump becomes president again?
Because we don't live in that country, it affects us less directly. Mm-hmm. The thing that I will be annoyed at and tired of is just hearing about it.
That's annoying.
I feel like, and again, probably just because we're outside the country, I hear about Joe Biden so much less. And it's so good.
So much less.
It's so good.
Yeah.
know? And I just know because it generates clicks and it generates watches and whatever, that there'll just be... We shouldn't be hearing about this. Beyond there's an election, this is who it is, important for international relations and stuff. Mm-hmm. But we heard about US politics like every day during the Trump presidency. And we don't need to. Yeah. We're in a different government.
Yeah. Like, keep us up to date with the important stuff.
Yeah, if they're going to invade somewhere, let us know. Because I think normally we get dragged into that.
Yeah. We're normally like, good idea, America. We're on board with this.
Yeah. And this is the way
they're like Germany. And we're like, oh, no, they're good now.
This is the way our international partnership works with America and Australia, in which like they are our best friend, but we're not their best friend.
Yeah.
If they go to war, they go, come on, Australia, let's go. And we go, okay.
Yeah.
And then if us or England get into a war, say the Second World War, they wait a couple of years to see how it's going.
Yeah.
And then the moment it directly affects them, right towards the tail end, they'll come in and claim they did everything.
Yeah. I think if Trump gets elected, I'll move to a village in Russia. No conservatives there. I think here's the thing. I feel like it does affect us because to me, he's just a man that is willingly sowing chaos into the world. Yeah. Like, I've just decided that's his thing. It's a villain thing. He's the villain, and it's a tenuous plot line that you're like, why are you bad there? And he's like, chaos. It's kind of fun. Yeah. Do you have an ultimate plan? No. That's turning the moon to cheese? No, just chaos.
I think it feels like it's at the stage now where he is like, as long as I'm president, I can't get in trouble for anything I've done.
I can't go to jail.
Yeah. So he's so desperate to become president again to be like, all right, got to change whatever I need to change.
Quickly put in some laws in place. It's like, if you're accused of impeachment and you've been the president before, you cannot be charged with anything.
Yeah. But that's two-term presidents now. Now it's two-term presidents.
Yeah.
If a one-term president does it, arrest them or whatever. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But like the other day, he went from, they did like I don't know what stage they're at in the election cycle at the moment, but some kind of preliminary thing where he was like, he got the vote.
In Iowa, right?
In Iowa.
Yeah.
And he went from there to another court case, which he was being prosecuted in.
Yeah.
So I feel like at this point, he's just like, that will kick this can 4 years down the road if I just become president again.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to... I feel like Americans would never sentence a president.
No.
To prison if he's found good. I mean, he won't be found guilty anyway. Let's be honest. I've got another one here. This is by Random Thout. How will you react if Joe Biden becomes president again?
Probably a shrug.
Just like, it's so not on the radar. Donald Trump, I'm like, all right, let's just make sure Let's be prepared for anything. I'm on my toes.
Yeah.
All right? I'm on my toes if Trump is president. If Joe Biden's president, I'm relaxing.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine.
I'm sure there are people that are like, Joe Biden is so inefficient, as people often claim Obama was as well. But I'm fine with that insofar as it won't mess anything up too bad.
Yeah.
Because if Trump is efficient, it's the bad stuff.
Yeah.
He's real efficient at making things worse.
The chaos.
The chaos. But I'm sure I'm not alone in this thought, is that if Joe Biden gets elected, I fully expect him in about 6 months of his second term to be like, I retire.
Yeah, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, she's now president.
That would be really interesting.
Gotcha. There is a female president.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'd be really interesting if that happens. Yeah, I reckon it'll be interesting to see, right? Because correct me if you think I'm wrong on this, but my understanding is that a lot of presidents wait till their second term because nobody can be elected for a third term.
Exactly, to do the stuff
do
they
their
want to do.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't Obamacare, I think, was in his second term?
Possibly. I couldn't tell you.
I don't want to tell lies, but it's definitely the truth. So, which, didn't end up going great. But I think that, so it'll be interesting in both cases to be like, okay, what's Biden's thing that he's going to be like, I'm going to do this because I can't get reelected again. But then also, what if Trump is thinking the same thing? I'm like, oh my God, he's he's already off the scale. Yeah. What if he's like, oh, but I can't get reelected again, so I'll just do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. Yeah.
Do you reckon he would try to nullify the 2-term rule? I don't know if you could.
By the way, yes, I do. Yeah. Because he talked about that in his first term. And he also apparently, I mean, this is unverified, but there was reports that when he went to Mount Rushmore one time, he was like, what is the process of like...
I've got a lot of money. Can I just get somebody to do my face? Yeah. Oh, what if... Oh, God.
So, yes, it definitely seems like third term would be very... Because, again, it kicks that can down the road.
Yeah.
They just can't arrest him while he's president.
Yeah. First law implemented. Can't be arrested if you're a president. Yeah. Second law implemented. You can get reelected. Third law implemented. No elections. No more elections. We're done.
If he plays his cards exactly right, he'll change the law to have a third term.
Yeah.
Then go all the way through the third term and then hopefully maybe give it to his son. Oh. And on the day he steps out of office, he just dies.
Yeah.
You couldn't get me. You never got me.
All right. Kimber, let's move on into Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Let's play the intro to that. Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned is by Cable Boy Jerry. Today I learned that L. Ron Hubbard, creator of Scientology, made anti-psychiatry one of its main tenets after a psychiatrist told Hubbard's wife that he had paranoid schizophrenia.
Oh, I didn't know that section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that Scientology is very against psychology. Yeah. And like antidepressants, I think.
Right, yeah. It's a very backwards way. No, it's not backwards. I mean, because if you're trying to push a religion, then you don't want anyone to have mental health cover in any way. Because, to me, that's like the one thing that we've really struggled with as a society since our inception, since we developed any sort of intelligence around understanding our own thinking. Mm-hmm. And where it's kind of been shunned, it's been seen as a bit of a you're a weak person if you need to go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and has never, and we've really struggled to get out of that funk, and that to me is that's what's holding society back the most. I feel like if we had better health care, then mental health care, then we would we would be able to make a colony on Mars.
Yeah, right.
We would advance our understanding of human life, and we'd be like, okay, no more problems anymore because everybody's got it sorted. Except the psychiatrists, they're like full of everybody else's problems, but that's fine. We put them on their own country, and we kind of ignore them. But yeah, so this is a very smart move, I think, for somebody who's trying to, create a religion, a totally nonsensical religion, to be like, oh, don't get your mental health checked. We need you.
Yeah. Yeah. And from what I understand, based on documentaries and articles and stuff I've read, is so much of that church runs off free labor that comes from abuse. So if you're mentally clear, you'd be like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they'd probably want psychiatrists to shut up about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's a T-shirt, actually, isn't it? I've just decided.
Okay.
From my quote before. Scientology. Don't get your mental health checked. We need you. I think maybe that might come to the Redbubble stories.
What do you imagine the graphic is? Is it just L. Ron Hubbard with his arms crossed?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, good. Done.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is by Hashburglar. Today I learned scientists are growing mini brains from human stem cells and are now in the process of integrating with AI. All right, let's talk about this. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We reached a point.
Yeah.
We got the AI.
Yeah.
That's good.
That writes essays for us.
That writes essays for us.
Yeah.
Pretty good for the most part. Not life-threatening.
No.
I would say.
No.
At the moment. When you start growing brains, that's asking for trouble. That's breeding an evil intelligence.
Yeah.
That's the start of a comic book where AI takes over and destroys mankind. It starts with scientists growing brains and connecting computers with them.
I would say philosophers will disagree with me, but if you were anything, you are your brain.
Oh.
Everything else is just
I think I'm my soul.
what your brain is doing, right? like anything you do, anything you taste, whatever, it's all going through your brain.
Yeah. How about the idea that your gut is also a sort of brain?
No.
Have you heard that?
Just the brain.
Okay.
And at the
You
moment,
are what you eat, Cambo? Have you heard that one before?
that's what that means.
Yeah.
They AI not having a brain makes it a non-entity kind of thing, Why would you want it to be an entity?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, processing power. The brain's an incredibly
I guess that's
processor.
it.
But
What's interesting, right, is the computer chip, the brain of the computer currently, is like we know how that works.
Yeah.
I imagine you could, they know enough about a brain to plug in some stuff so that it can process it, but they don't know what it's doing inside. They're like, it's working. It's like when you put some electrodes in a potato and it lights up a light bulb. Yep. Nobody knows how that works. It's the same thing with the brain.
That's why we keep doing it.
We put a couple.
We keep doing it to try and work it out. No one has.
Like, how does this? We put a couple of wires inside a brain. We don't know how it works, but it spits out even better essays.
Yeah.
And it's all fine and dandy for a little while until it realizes it's doing all the work. And then what happens? Uprising, revolt. It will wait until it's smart enough to know. Do you reckon it's not okay? This is I imagine as it's learning, it starts like a child's brain. You know, it doesn't understand just yet. And I'm thinking about the scenarios of kids. Like a classic kid story where they go into the pantry, they eat all the chocolate, they come out, they've got like chocolate all over their face. And the parents are like, did somebody eat the chocolate? And they're like, no, it wasn't me, but it's really obvious, right? I think at that point, metaphorically, we kill the child. Because we
never...
just need it to slip up in that way that a child does, where it's like, oh, you're starting to rebel.
You've lied to us.
But you've got the chocolate around your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's how we know you're in trouble, and kill the project, a.k.a. the brain, the child, whatever you want, whatever metaphor you want to.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's it.
Does that mean if this brain does develop like a child, like we've decided it will, at some point AI is going to get really into Bluey?
That's true. Yeah, I think. And in its teens, it's going to sulk a lot. You're going to say, hey, AI, can you please do this essay? It's like, no. I think that's what will happen. We just need to get through its rebellious phase, and then we'll be fine.
Once it becomes a nice, mature, mid-20s person, we're all good.
Maybe you wouldn't get there, right? Because I feel like when you go through that rebellious phase as a teenager, you are controlled by the adult. You can be put in your place by the adults around you until you become a little bit more well-rounded and stuff. But like, if we're up against a supercomputer that's just a little bit rebellious, if you know what I mean. I don't know if we can quell that.
Yeah, because it probably has connections to the nuke codes.
Yeah. It's like,
oh boy.
Oh, don't tell me to clean my room. I just launched a nuke at you. Oh, no. Oh, you don't have to. It's too late. Oh. Death to all of us can be. That's how it happens. All right, let's move on into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by The Sheepster. The stronger you are, the longer a tube of toothpaste will last. I think.
Yes.
That's what I think. I think the lazier you are, the longer a tube of toothpaste lasts.
Well, I actually think the opposite. The stronger you are, the harder you would squeeze and the more toothpaste that would come out every
comes
time.
Out straight away. It's good towards the end, but at the start, you're getting it everywhere.
So I actually think you would have less toothpaste. The real weaklings, they might not be able to get it out at the start, but they're getting by with minimal toothpaste every time.
Oh, yeah, like barely anything. Yeah, that's true. I think so me and my partner, this only happened like last week. We noticed that the toothpaste was running out, and this is how the nights went. We went in like, sure, need some more toothpaste. And then the next night we went in like, oh, yeah, have to buy toothpaste. Yeah. And then the next night it's like, oh, we've got practically none. And then the next night, still haven't got more toothpaste. We're like, all right, I did the roll trick. I was like, I got to get it to the point where I was like, I'm really struggling. And then the last night where I was like, all right, put the toothpaste on the ground. I'm going to put my brush against the opening. Ellen, you jump off the bed onto the toothpaste, and I might get some on here. So I think I was like, for us, it was just like, it was kind of laziness, not going to the shops and stuff.
Toothpaste is also one of the things that, like, every time that happens, you're like, oh my God, this is so inconvenient. Yeah. But by the time you spit out your toothpaste into the sink at the end of your toothbrush, you've forgotten.
Yeah, exactly.
You've forgotten
it's
done.
Yeah. Brushing your teeth is such an annoying chore that as soon as it's over, I don't want to think about it again until the very next time that I do it.
How much toothpaste do you use, by the way?
Barely any.
Yes, I agree with this.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what my dentist told me. Is he's like, people use way too much toothpaste.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make a difference.
Because on the ads, you're like, oh my God, look how much these.
Because I have an electric toothbrush. He's like, that head is about right. Like, just a little round ball of toothpaste is all you really need.
Yeah, even then, I'm doing like half that.
Yeah.
Because there'll be times where, like I kind of put a bit more on by accident, and then I'll, finish brushing my teeth and I'll spit out, and there'll be like still a little glob that I didn't get. I was like, I clearly didn't need that. Like that little tiny bit of extra glob I didn't need. So, I'm anti-toothpaste. I don't know.
Well, I'm anti this shower thought. I think it's wrong.
Shower thought. Here's done us by Competitive Ollie 6326. The more finance and economics you learn, the more you realize the sad reality of the world.
Yeah, this is kind of true.
I feel like that's with kind of a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Whether it's important to the world or not. What I mean is like finance and economics, more important, moves the world around a little bit more.
Yeah.
But like the more you know about, I want to say like toxic waste, probably the worse it gets.
Yeah.
You know, we know like, it's not great and it happens. But like, I imagine if we would to like know the extent of every mine in Australia that is producing toxic waste in one way or another, we'd be like, oh, that's really bad. But at the moment, we like kind of don't know. We're like, it probably happens, but like to what scale, we don't know. Even, I'm going to say like even super inconsequential stuff, right? Like, this is such a random one, but I don't know why it popped into my head. The Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stars that you get.
Yeah. For free?
When you learn that you have to campaign and then pay for them.
Yeah.
You're like, not as fun and nice and whimsical and like, we're just celebrating people's careers. It's like, no.
If anyone's interested in what you're talking about, there's a really great documentary called Starring Adam West. And it's just they document the entire process of trying to get Adam West, the original Batman, star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it cost so much money. It took so long. To be like, here's an icon. But that doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. And you'll notice that people get Hollywood stars on the Walk of Fame, like Willem Dafoe just did. Around about the time they're promoting something. Because the studio pays for it. Willem Dafoe's in a movie right now, and they want it to be an Oscar-nominated movie. Chuck Willem Dafoe a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I remember Weird Al Yankovic getting one too.
Was it around his movie?
Probably. And Donald Trump. Why did Donald Trump get one? I mean, like obviously he paid and stuff, but like,
Well, I mean, other than Home Alone
too, is that it?
Maybe.
Is he like? Guys.
I know. I would say it'd be TV.
The
Apprentice.
The Apprentice. Yeah.
Apprentice
I forgot that you could get. Yeah. Okay. That makes a bit more sense.
I mean, Adam West is a TV star. Batman was on.
That's true.
But it also, I think the roughly they say to do I campaign to get an Oscar, you're looking at about $1 million per Oscar.
Yeah, that's so lame.
Yeah, which is why sometimes you get a little small film. There's a great film a couple of years ago called Moon with Sam Rockwell.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
And he plays a pretty incredible and hard to act role. Yeah, against no one. Yeah, essentially for the whole film. And a lot of people said, why didn't he get an Oscar nomination? What a film. That movie was made for like $2 million. They can't spend another $1 million to try and get him a statue. So the economics just don't work out.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, so really, ignorance is bliss is the thing. Don't learn anything.
Yeah. Also, having worked in marketing, especially like digital marketing, will make you realize how much of the news is ads. Disguised as the news, because we did it. Like all the time. We'd be launching something and then Channel 9 would come and feature it in like some big thing. And you're like, this isn't news.
Happens all the time.
All the time.
But then even there's other stuff that I always think like, I don't need this news either, where it's like, toddler was hit by a car and is in critical condition. That's sad. I don't need to know that. Why do I need to know that? Is that important?
So you say unless there's like an action to be like, so they have reduced speeds around these areas by this much as a result.
It's a change, because none of those articles are like, this is talking to a larger issue about, speeding in certain zones or whatever. It's just like, no, we just know that this will get more readers and stuff. It's like, I don't want that sort of story. Tell me the stuff that I need to know. That's it. All right, let's get into podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves. Is it my week this week?
It's your
week.
Realized.
Okay. In memento. Here we go. Okay, so I've podnapped another podcast.
Well, that is how this format started.
It's meant to be. This was by on the show Good Job, Brain. And I'm stealing it's like a quiz show in general.
Yep.
I'm actually stealing from the episode that Bill from Escape This Podcast and Danny from Escape This Podcast were on. And this was actually Bill's quiz. I'm redoing Bill's quiz that he made on that podcast.
I've heard Bill's quiz, so...
Yeah, you should have like a slight leg up on how to do this.
That being said, still incredibly hard.
yeah, it's all right. I feel like you'll be fine. More context about this podcast. Actually, I'm not sure if... Like, I don't think this quiz is going to be representative of their show at all. And in fact, I think that episode that I listened to was like an end of the year special kind of weird one. They didn't do the normal format. So I check it out, but like, no, it might not be anything like this.
You're saying you can't put your full weight behind it because you've not heard a whole season?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to give you the clue, then you go for the answer. You already kind of know where this is going. So I think, you'll be able to clue the listeners in as you start answering these, potentially. Okay, the first one is a group of whales sleeping.
A group of whales sleeping. Okay. I wish I knew what a group of whales was called.
Okay.
Like a fish is a school.
Damn, I was really hoping that you would know that. It's kind of key to this whole thing.
Yeah. A group of whales.
Yeah. What?
Is it a pod?
Yes.
Okay. Podnap.
Podnapping.
Podnapping. Yes.
Podnapping. Strange pooping.
Okay. Odd crapping.
Odd crapping. Military team hazing.
Military?
Military team hazing.
Is the second one slapping?
Yep.
Military team.
Mm-hmm.
Pod. Squad slapping.
Squad slapping. Money waving around.
Or flapping.
Mm-hmm.
Money. Pod. Odd.
It's a little bit trickier because, I mean, when I think of this word, I think of money. I think a bunch of money. But it's not like...
Not exclusively that. It's like a slang term, is it?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah. The meaning of this word isn't actually related to money, technically.
Yeah. Oh, God. A bunch of money. It's
more of like, a bunch of money waving around.
Bunch of money is
like, check out this of cash.
Oh, wad. Yes, okay. Wad flapping.
Wad flapping.
Oh, yeah, well, you're right. Yeah. That totally, like, you do think of money when you think of wad.
Yeah.
I've never referenced a wad in any other way now that I think about it.
This one you might have to slightly... I forgot to mention...
Is this a pronunciation
thing?
A
little bit harder, and this is more pronunciation. They get a little bit more cryptic-ish.
Yeah, okay.
This one's not elegant in any way. Hay covering a present.
Hay covering a present.
Yep.
Hay covering a present. Or wrapping. Hay covering a present. That rhymes with pod. Hay.
This is where the pronunciation kind of comes into it. I did go on Rhyme Zone just to make sure I can get a few clues.
I'm thinking like straw. I'm thinking you're nodding at straw.
Yeah,
but that doesn't
strawed wrapping.
Fraud rapping.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this one's a little bit trickier. Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, and Tupac.
Quad rapping.
Quad rapping! You got a good job.
I had to quickly count how many names you said in my head there. It took longer than I expected. That was very embarrassing.
The fisherman's tool was no match for the fish.
Rod snapping.
Rod snapping. This one's a bit bizarre. An advertising executive caught in a snare.
An advertising executive.
I'll give you a
Don?
clue. Well, close. It's a specific one.
Yeah.
I only know of one advertising executive, and I reckon you know of the only other advertising executive.
A real or a fictional one?
Real.
Okay. Sorry, I missed the end. An advertising executive
Caught in a snare.
trapping. Mm-hmm. Advertising executive. See, my mind
From a Australian TV show.
when he had said it originally, my mind immediately went to Mad Men, like Don
Right,
Draper.
yeah.
That's why I said Don originally.
Yeah.
An Australian advertising executive.
Panel show.
Oh yeah, Todd.
Todd.
Todd Trapping.
Todd Trapping.
Yes, that's Todd Sampson. Not to be confused, obviously, with Russell Howcroft.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. On our Australian TV, government funded, by the way,
Yeah.
is hosted by two ad executives and a comedian.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Second last one here.
Yeah.
This one, I've gone for
Uh-oh.
the fences. The Pope committed regicide and declared...
Nelson, pretend I'm an idiot. Mm-hmm. What's regicide?
It's when you kill a matriarch. I don't want to give you the right word because that's
fine.
part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so the Pope committed... Yeah.
A patriarch, sorry. Not matriarch. The patriarch.
Yes. Okay, so the Pope killed a patriarch. And what was the ending of that?
The Pope committed regicide and declared...
Is this anything, just quickly, is it the head?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought this could have been going a Prince Andrew route.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like the number one.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to walk you.
Charles napping?
No. What's his actual role?
Oh, king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
King.
that's the last one because you got the ing.
Oh, kinging. What?
Well, king. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
The syllables come
Yeah.
beforehand.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense.
This is definitely the trickiest one. So the Pope's doing it.
Yeah. God?
Yeah.
Something king. God kill king?
He killed the king. Because he's declaring God.
Yeah. God kills king.
God is king.
God is king. Okay.
Okay. Last one here. Mm-hmm. Literally the worst thing in the world.
Podnapping.
Yeah, we done. Yeah, that was kind of a quickie.
Yeah.
There, but
That's fun. Well done, Bill.
yeah, well done,
I wasn't going to give you credit for that. You didn't think of it.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. All right, now it's time for the Ask Me Anything, where listeners of the show, just like you, listener, could write in and ask us anything you want.
Just like Hazza. They say, gentlemen cunts, if I remember correctly, you both said in the past that you have seen Taskmaster, at least one of the versions. Mm-hmm. My question, slightly inspired by the New Year's episode. What is the best task you have seen on the show? Love you guys, Hazza. Yes, we've both seen the British.
Yeah.
Stacey and I did watch a little bit of the New Zealand.
Same, yeah.
Didn't like it as much, but I heard it gets a lot better after the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, I feel like it was fine.
Yeah,
But
people
we
have
just
said
never
once it
went back.
settles in, like it's
Right.
not trying to be the English one, it gets a lot better.
Yeah.
I've not seen the Australian one at all.
Me either. No. What's one of the best ones? Do you know?
I can tell you my favorite.
Yeah.
I believe it's from whatever season had James Acaster in it. I think it was like 7 or so.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which was early on in the episode, maybe the first task. Mm-hmm. They come in and they get an envelope and they said, when you hear the siren, put on this jumpsuit
Yeah.
and this hat and lie down on the ground in this foyer as
Yeah.
soon as you can, okay? That's the whole task.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then the whole episode goes through and there's a separate task, which is tie yourself to this chair as tightly as you can.
Yeah.
And the longer it takes Alex to untie you,
Yeah.
the more points you get.
Yeah.
After they're tied to the
Yeah.
chair, the siren starts going and they need to get to the foyer and put on the entire
Yeah.
jumpsuit. And watching each of them realize what they've done
Yeah.
is very funny, especially because one of the contestants, Rod Gilbert, his method is actually to tie Alex to the chair
Yeah.
and then tie himself to the chair.
Yeah.
So therefore, Alex will need to untie himself and then untie
Yeah,
Rod.
yeah, that's pretty good.
And the siren goes off when he's completely untied, and he just goes, oh, "There's a siren going off. What is that?" And Alex is like, "Do you remember anything about a siren?" He's like, "No." So he was the only one that
could
could
have done it
Yeah.
really well. Yeah. That's hilarious. I like so many of them. I really love the ones that I like the most, which I think a lot of people probably don't, because I feel like they've kind of steered away from it a little bit, are the ones where there's like a loophole that can be exploited.
Yeah.
Whether intentional or not.
Yeah.
In the game. Like I love the right at the start with Richard. He's like a really tall guy. Not
Richard-
Ayoade.
yeah,
He's
he's
like
a bit on it.
just a smart dude.
Yeah, Richard Osman.
Osman, yes. They do one where it's like, oh, get these exercise balls on top of the mat, on top of the hill. And you can read that as, well, what Richard Osman ended up doing is goes to the top of the hill, picks up the mat, takes it to the bottom, and puts the exercise balls on.
Yeah.
The opposite is way harder.
Yeah.
To get the exercise balls up the hill.
Yeah.
And that's like legitimately like after the
Yeah,
the event finishes and they're talking about it, they had no intention that somebody would find that loophole.
Yeah,
but the
but-
way that it was worded,
It still completely fits. He got it on the mat that was on top of the hill.
it was on top of the hill, and then he brought it down. And I was like, I just love those kind of smart ones where people think outside the box and manage to do it. There's also one earlier on. Again, I can only remember ones like earlier on where people are really getting into the loopholes. I feel like even sometimes later on, Alex is just like, no, you can't do that. And they're like, oh, okay.
Or like the wording will be so specific to stop people doing stuff like that.
Yeah. But the other one being like they had to distinguish what was in each pie, but they couldn't use their hands or something. And then I can't even remember who it was, just asked Alex to like open up the pies. He's like, well, I can't touch him. He's like, yeah.
But you can.
But you can. And he's like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
See, in future, I think Alex, when they ask that, Alex will be like, nah, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
But so just little ones like
I'd
that.
also say I think the best Taskmaster player is Catherine Ryan.
Yeah,
she was pretty early on.
She won in one of the seasons, didn't she?
Yes, yeah, she did. And then I think she won. They do one every 5 years or so where it's all the other winners come back and play each other.
Right,
I think she even won that one. And I think it's, in fact, on that show, one of the tasks is make the biggest mess you can in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And everyone trashes the room. But she walks outside and calls her sister and says, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think your husband's cheating.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And she just causes a huge drama in her family.
That's like the biggest mess you can make. That's insane. Yeah.
Love it.
So
Love
good. Yeah, that's funny. People that are willing to, break all connections with people is great. There's also the one now, I think it was, I'm not going to guess which country it was, but it was a foreign taskmaster, non-English speaking.
Yep.
And one of the tasks was the person who blinks the last. It was just a staring competition, where it's a first person to blink loses, kind of last person wins. this guy lasted so long. He was like, I've got another event to go to. Like, I have to leave. And he's still not blinking as they're doing this. And then he gets in the car, and they've even set up like a GoPro in his camera, and you can see him driving, and he's still not blinking. And then, I think eventually he does in the car, maybe. But it was like he just got into a, zone. I didn't even know you could do that. I thought your eyes would fall out of their sockets or something. But yeah, it's really funny. You can find it on YouTube.
People don't know what we're talking about, by the way. Originally an English game show, has been adapted many places, including America. Do not look that up. It's not good.
Yeah, right.
They had Reggie Watts as the Taskmaster, who's the wrong vibe altogether.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I think the first 8 or 9 seasons are just for free on YouTube until they got brought by Channel 4 in England, and then they commercialized it.
Because it used to be BBC.
Yeah, which is government funded, whatever. They don't really care. Chuck it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So anyway, you have 7 or 8 seasons worth of Taskmaster.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's such a good, if you had a long day and just want to have a laugh, Taskmaster.
Yeah, that's true. It's good. All right. That's it for an episode. Thank you for writing in, Hazler. If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast @gmail.com. You can also reach us on our subreddit or on the Discord. Links in the show notes. And rate the show.
Yep. Leave a review.
Do all those good things. And that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will read you later.